Hey everyone, this is Kiragami here, back with another vlog. I have no idea why I stopped making these videos. I think it's been over an year, I guess, since I stopped making these videos and being there in my life. I think it's been more than 1 year. I think it has been around 2 years since I stopped working on these small projects that I used to have. Not the kind of projects that you might be expecting, but the kind of projects that are elevating, or rather, they are the usual things that you do in your life. But calling them projects makes you want to do them even in the most efficient and better way as possible. So I don't know why I stopped making those videos. I don't know what am I doing here. I have been wanting to get back on the grid and start working on these again. But I couldn't get time. I didn't have, and I still don't have anything interesting to share. My life is pretty much a monotonous cycle, which is fine for me, but it might not be fine for the camera. However, I do realize I read something every day, something new every day, because the kind of thing I'm preparing for it requires me to read something new each and every day, and it is viewed from different perspectives. So I think it is a good idea to start making these videos again. It's not my experience, it could be my experience with my studies, it could be my studies, the thing that I'm actually studying. I can even talk about it. I can even talk about the book which I just received today. This is the human rights book, the human rights certification book. I am doing a certification in human rights, hence the book. And I realize I tend to repeat myself a lot now. Can't help it. So, also, there is another reason why I stopped making the videos. See, when I stopped making my videos, my life was full on grid. There were a lot of things that were going on, and I didn't know how to cope with them. There was a lot of work, there were a lot of relations, there was also college, and then there are government exams and whatnot. So I stopped making videos altogether. And when I wanted to resume making the videos again, I did not know where to start and where to end. I mean, I had a lot of things to say. I wanted to talk about a number of things. I had a lot of experience with a lot of things now. I'm not saying that I'm very experienced, but there were a lot of experiences, which some of which I've learned from, some of which I still need to figure out in my mind. But yeah, I don't know. So with that thought, I resisted myself from making these videos. But since day before yesterday, I've been thinking to resume making these videos, not just for not for views, not for anything else, but to be able to reflect back on life whenever I watch them later in my life, to know what exactly was I doing in my early 20s and what were my ambitions, how I was perceiving everything, and how my life was going all together. So that would be a good reminder for future me to know exactly where I was and where I am from then to now, or now to then. I don't know. So I guess it's a better idea to resume. And in order to address the other problem, the one of the main problem that I don't know where to start, I guess the best way to do, the best thing we can do is we can start from today itself, rather than going back to the past and trying to recall everything that has happened, good or bad. That's going to take a lot of time. You cannot just summarize everything in in 1 or 2 minutes of your, like 2 3 years of your life in just 1 or 2 minutes. That's not possible, right? So we're just going to be talking about, candidly going to be talking about how my day goes every day, and what I do every day. You might get an idea. So right now it's 11:26, and I think usually I'll be making these videos at this time only because of convenience. Oh, lot of light. All right. Okay. So let's start with the day. So the day of usual. So usually my day starts with me waking up, trying to just getting ready to study. That's the day. That's how the day begins. Today as well, the day started with me waking up late at around 10:30. This is because my father had to catch a train, due to which I decided not to sleep. His train was at 5:30 in the morning, so I decided not to sleep so that I can wake him up and then I go to sleep. So that's exactly what I did. I woke him up kind of, but he was already awake though. The train was late by 1.5 hours. So at 5:30 he was ready to go, but he slept. I slept. When I woke up, he left. So I just called him. What to know? He reached the station. The train went on its way. So at around 6:35, I slept again, and then I woke up at 10:30. So now we can continue. At 10:30, I woke up, brushed my teeth, had my tea, and sat myself on my laptop, got my copies and pens ready, and I started studying. So today I studied with my friend. Today we did answer writing for Indian society. So in Indian society, particularly right now, we are studying about the role of women in the Indian society, basically. Different spectrums of questions that we did today. For example, um, the protection against violence, domestic violence protection Act of 2005, which is also known as Protection of Women Against Violence Act 2005. We did that. We did basic features of it, the provisions that are given in the act. Then we did a little about their pros and their cons, and what are the ways forward through which we can, what are the ways we can amend it and make it even more effective and efficient. Then we talked about why there is an increase in women violence in India altogether, especially in case of Delhi. Delhi has been seeing enormous amount of violence against women. It is a state with one of the highest amount of violence against women in the country right now. So why is this number increasing? We talked about it. The basic reason for that is very simple. Um, Women in Delhi are exposed to a number of crime because of high crime rates in the area. Number one, because Delhi is relatively more modernized, people there are not educated enough. Mostly, a lot of migrants are there, and unfortunately, these migrants, whenever they see this modern lifestyle, they are insinuated and they often wish to engage in uncertain ways. That's one reason. There are other reasons as well, like domestic violence is very high because in usually in metropolitan city, men and women both are working. So when both are working, they are not able to properly work upon the household issues. And again, the fast pace of Delhi doesn't allow them to communicate properly, which results in conflicts. I'm not saying that women or men should not work together like in a household, but the fast pacing life and lack of communication between them have often led to um, one turning violent against the other. It is sometimes men, it is sometimes women, it is most of the time men. There are other things. There are a lot of things, spectrums. Even I'm not able to recall all of them right now. Then we also did more questions. There's this convention that happened in United Nations for Women. It was a Beijing Convention in 1995. In the Beijing Convention, there were 12 points which were given. and it talked about the women, different areas of women empowerment where it is required. Uh, some of them were health, then there was political representation, then there was talking about the empowerment in job sectors, giving them in different job opportunities. You know, the blue collar jobs, which seems to be reserved for men, they should also be involved in those kind of jobs. And there are different spectrums apart from that. So let's talk about some other question. What else question we did a number of, we talked about the female fanticide, then in infanticide and fanticide both we talked about it. I guess that was all there was to it for today. Role of women. Okay, yeah, there was also role of women, how panchayati, the 73rd amendment, how panchayati is helping women to get better representation in panchayat, how panchayat is helping them, and what are the cons to it. So we talked about it, how one third of the seats in panchayat is reserved for women, how they are able to raise women's issue, and how they are able to mobilize more Anganwadi workers in their area to address issues of child and women altogether. That's one. Then there are other things like when women are getting more represented in the local self-governing body, they are able to gain more respect in the family altogether, which decreases violence against women in the villages, and overall more respect in the region. Also, there are some cons like the uh, Sarpanch Pati. Sarpanch Pati is a concept in which the Sarpanch, who is supposedly a woman, she is, when she becomes elected as Sarpanch, her husband takes care of all the affairs of the Sarpanch, the Panchayat, rather than her going to the office. She don't go to the office, and the husband act as a proxy to her. So that's an issue we talked about in Panchayat. Yeah, that's about it. There are other things too, but let's stop. There are also issues related to the political representation of women, as per the Women Representation Bill, which will become. I think it became the act. I'm not sure. The Women Representation Act of 2023 in India. It will have one third or 33% of women in the assembly elections, so they will get the seats reserved for them. So yeah, and the cons to it, like before even getting this representation done, before this reservation is done, um, there has to be delimitation that needs to be done, and there also needs to be census that needs to be done before before the implementation of this uh, act. So yeah, that's about it. And then we also talked about a little, we also studied a little sociology, not much. We talked about social mobility. Sorry about that. We talked about social mobility. Now, social mobility refers to a condition in which it's a social phenomena, rather a social condition in which a person moves from one spectrum to the other in terms of economy, in terms of social status, in terms of technological status, in terms of customs, etc. There are different ways to define social mobility. Different people have mentioned about social mobility. Karl Marx had a view. There is also a Weber's view. There is structural view. There is functional view. There is conflict view. There is interrelational view. There is interceptionist view. Then there are different views basically. So yeah, about social mobility, how social mobility is functioning in society. So that's all we talked about in the Indian society. In current affair, we talked about the new parliament building. We read about a little about I don't remember what we did in current affairs. Okay, we also talked about the Delhi Amendment Bill. the NCT, how NCTs will be governed further, where the Supreme Court put a stay. I read the June's current affairs, so there are a lot of new developments, ordinances that made Delhi's civil servants being controlled by, especially the IAS officers, being controlled by the central government. Central government's appointed LG, that is Lieutenant Governor. There's a lot of the issue is very dynamic. How Supreme Court how Supreme Court intervened to allow Delhi government to have autonomy when it comes to autonomy and authority over the civil servants of the state. It was overpowered by the central government. So the issue is quite complicated. I'm still reading about it. Maybe it will take some time to further get into it. I guess that's all we did today. I got this book. I wanted to start it. This is the Certification in Human Rights, UDHR, and different human rights commissions which have been talked about, and different human rights issues across the country, across the world, in fact, and how they are being dealt with in the United Nations. And then there is human rights in India and how Indian government is dealing with it, how different organizations, including the Human Rights Commission, which is arguably um, quite a hindrance for administration often, um, how it is working towards betterment of the society, apparently. So yeah, that's these two books which I have right now, like these two books. I need to read them, but I think right now I don't have time. Today I don't have time. Maybe I'll start reading about them tomorrow. Maybe if not tomorrow, maybe I'll get down to them the next week. But anyways, that's all for today. That's all I did today. Not much, I know, but it was fun. Good day. Uh, Also, I went out to a park and wondering about what's right, what's wrong, which is usually what I do. There are a lot of vices that we have in our life, and we should always try to think about the good that we do, of course, but we should also try to annihilate and eliminate everything that is not good in our life, the bad habits that we have. So I identified three bad habits that I have, and I found out that these are not the bad habits that I have developed. These are the bad habits that I have had in my childhood, but they are carried forward to my adulthood. So I'm trying to find ways to deal with them, to ensure that these habits don't become a habit. They can be annihilated and they can be dealt with, but still trying to figure out how. Because again, the first step is to identify. The second and the more difficult step is to know how to deal with them and how to solve these issues. So yeah, that's it for the video now. I think I've talked enough. I'll see you guys later, because it's already 18 minutes that I've been talking. I didn't know that I can even talk for 20 minutes to myself after such a long time, but yeah, I can. I have to say one more thing. The past 1 year has been more than 1.5 year has been crazy. It was initially very good, and it turned very very bad. Now it is on neutral. I'm back at my parents' house. I used to live in Delhi for over 4 years. Didn't have a very good time there, despite allegedly or arguably very successful time in Delhi. Maybe, arguably, that's right. But yeah, I had some fair share of issues in the city as well, in the New Delhi city as well. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good day, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Perhaps, maybe not. I don't know how this thing will work now. This is a good format. Maybe I'll continue. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day. Tomorrow is Sunday, so maybe we will relax a little bit. But for now, let's just get this over with. So, yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.